Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
We got the GoPro camera to give you a course preview, courtesy of Justin Barsha, and you'll see and hear how hard you can ride a motocross bike when it's Barsha.
Yeah, he's not the only guy I know that rides a 450 like a 125, but he makes it work for him. He's got some wins. Look how fast the track is through. Probably fourth gear, fifth gear up this hill even.
Yeah, you don't hear fifth gear very often in motocross, but it does happen here at Unadilla. Hey, look who is back. Dylan Ferrandis, the #1 plate that he earned from last season, is planted firmly on the front of his Yamaha. Had a thumb injury, missed all the rounds until now. He's making his season debut today at Unadilla. Frenchman Dylan Ferrandis began his career racing in the MXGP World Championship from 2011 to 2016. But after chasing multi-time world champion Jeffrey Hurlings around the world, Ferrandis left Europe and came to America to try his hand at Supercross and Motocross. After an initial learning curve, Ferrandis has become one of the toughest riders in his sport. His 4-year career in the 250 class saw him capture 9 overall and 23 moto wins, capped by the 2020 250 National Motocross title. Then he took a step up to the 450 class last season, and although a rookie, he showed respect, but zero intimidation against the established champions. The star Yamaha rider did not miss a beat, capturing 6 overall wins, podiums at every round, and becoming the first rider since Grant Langston in 2007 to win the Premier Class Motocross Championship for Yamaha. He's added to his success in Supercross with 2 250 West Region titles, and he's also carried the flag for Team France with Motocross of Nation wins in 2014 and 2018. No doubt, Dylan Ferrandis is in the middle of what will become a Hall of Fame career. Well, this is going to be awesome to have Ferrandis back in the mix, last year's champion, and he was rock solid last year. We'll see how long it takes him to get back up to speed. Says that thumb is not 100% strength-wise, but he's a racer and he wants to race. All those stats, by the way, it was his rookie season when he won the 450 title. So that's Ferrandis. Now we have Jason Thomas. JT, what's happening trackside?
Now, as you mentioned, Dylan Ferrandis is his first race back. Now, last summer, he could not put a foot wrong on his way to Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. This is the first race of the year for him. He got injured on Tuesday before the opener. I think the plan here is for him to work back into it, get back up to speed, and if he could play wingman to series points leader Eli Tomac down the stretch and into the finale at Fox Raceway, all the better for Monster Star Racing Yamaha.
Okay, KTM keys to the moto. What do we need to do at Unadilla, Jeff?
Well, if you watched that first 250 moto, it's find that rhythm and flow early and look for emerging lines. The track has changed way more than I thought it was. The track is actually way rougher at this point of the day than what I thought it was going to be.
And when a track was a little bit smoother, the Monster Energy Fast Qualifier Award powered by Morabito went to Ken Roczen with a 2:14.5. That was in the first session earlier in the day. Session 2, Jason Anderson in that green 21. He was actually the fastest rider in that final group.
Yeah, but it was right there at 2:14. Yep.
So we are ready. Fly Racing 30-second card is up, and the first 450 moto of the day is about to be underway. And it's Anderson and Ferrandis right there. So Ferrandis, who was not great with the starts last year, back with injury and back to the lead.
Look at that. Somebody's fired up. He's happy to be back here in pro motocross. You got Tomac's going to settle in about 5th. I see Dungy in there. Who am I not seeing?
Chase Sexton.
Sexton.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got a rough start. Anderson made a look on the inside. It was actually too slow. And here comes Roczen around the outside to attempt to take second place away. Well, this is really intriguing how it's shaped up. Roczen's so good at this track. Ferrandis is a true wild card. Don't know what he has. And Anderson very quick in qualifying this morning. Here we go. Roczen wants Anderson for a second time. Anderson holds him off.
Yeah, and see how there are sections of the track where they threw down a lot of water. And if it's hard, if you throw down the water on the hard spots here on this first lap, it can be really dangerous. I know, because this turn, I crashed with the lead one year with the whole shot because I hit some wet dirt and slid out. I was not ready for the conditions. And so these guys are going to have to battle with that right now.
I remember that froze, 96, I know.
Yeah.
And Jet Lawrence went down there not that long ago either. So that section is tough. Roczen just keeps working on Anderson for the number 2 spot. He's going to take a third swing at it. And let's see what these guys can do. That's been the story. Can anyone get up there and challenge Tomac
inside line?
Oh, Roczen and Anderson. Roczen aggressive. Takes the spot.
Oh, man. And look at how the bikes are jumping around that section where Roczen made the pass. It's so rough. They're coming through there. It's so fast. Huge holes are already starting. Oh, Anderson's off
the track, and Tomac's going to slip by him. Did you see Sexton?
We got Sexton at about 7th, unless he got past Anderson with that mistake. Now they're going to make this left-hand turn, head back up the wall.
Roczen looking to get around Ferrandis. What a comeback for Ferrandis. First time he's ever had the number 1 to show off in motocross. Roczen setting up the inside, Jeff. Way on the inside, tiptoes around. Oh, it almost worked, but the outside line momentum works. Ferrandis able to repass him. And Roczen not giving up on it. Can he seal the deal? He does.
Barely gets by. Well, it was the question earlier today in our qualifying show was which Ken Roczen is going to show up today. Perfect conditions. He's won the last 4 motos here. He goes out, was your fastest qualifier overall. And right now he's just worked his way to the lead, and he's just got something figured out with this track here at Unadilla. Whether it's a little bit harder, drier, slicker today, the past couple of races where it was soft, deep, muddy, rutted, it doesn't matter. He just has got the mojo working.
And he is pulling away quickly from the Monster Star Yamaha teammates, which is Ferrandis and now Tomac, who slipped by when Anderson was off track. Good recovery from Anderson. He's still right there in 4th. There's Plessinger, and Sexton is 6th. Then Dungey, Barsha, Savacci, and Freddie Noren. Now Tomac looking for a way around Ferrandis. It's the battle we were hoping to see all summer long between the teammates. Oh, and you can see Tomac's getting it together now.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see how deep into the moto Ferrandis can go. Can he do the full 35 minutes, right? 30 plus 2 laps. Can he ride at this pace the whole time? Or with that injury and the time off, see where his fitness is at. We talked to him yesterday for a while. He says, look, fitness-wise, like on a cycling and all the training, he goes, I'm maybe better than I've ever been. But then there's also bike shape, which is how you take that and actually apply it to your motorcycle for racing. And that's a totally different thing because he had a thumb injury not that long ago, and he just doesn't have the grip strength and the upper body strength, plus that sort of bike shape, I call it, which is when you start to put it all together.
Hey, Roczen on the racetrack. Mistakes, and because Ferrandis is getting pushed by Tomac, they've gotten back to him. So at the beginning of this lap, it looked like Roczen was going to start building a lead, but it's a 3-rider battle now.
Yeah, watch Tomac in some of these sections. He's got this technique and this style where he's not really afraid to he kind of drags his inside leg, or there's the pass.
He's got second place.
But he does that because he's really loose on the bike, and he does it. You wouldn't necessarily teach it, but with him, his technique, it just works for him. That just allows him to place the weight on the bike where he wants it, right? Weight the outside peg, but a lot of times he leaves that inside leg kind of loose, and it kind of flies out there a little bit. I noticed he did it coming up the wall, and he just kind of lets the bike move under him. So just pay attention to that. It's a very unique technique that Tomac has.
So we're set up for another in what has been a decade-long series of battles here in Pro Motocross and also Monster Energy Supercross, to be honest, between Roczen and Tomac, who are now 1-2.
Hey, this tabletop right there, in between the 250 moto and this 450 moto, here's what I'm talking about.
Dangling.
See the leg?
Yep.
Little dangle right there. It's a little dangle. That tabletop where we saw Seth Hammaker go over the bars, they definitely took the dozers out and worked on the face of that. They cleaned that up. So that tells me probably the conditions of that takeoff was getting really dangerous. And so the crew here at Unadilla Greg Robinson and his crew fixed it all up.
Eli Tomac is on the run. He's pulled away from Ferrandis, and he is almost onto the rear wheel of Roczen.
And look at the fans here in the back section. They're loving it. It's the most beautiful day I feel like I've ever been at here in Unadilla. Temperatures absolutely epic, just perfect skies. Track is just mint right now.
Beta Motorcycles drone cam showing you Tomac looking for a way to show a wheel to Roczen, let him know he's there. They've gotten away from Ferrandis. Then Anderson and Sexton. So Sexton's got to get on his horse and go because Tomac.
All right, look for the dangle here on the way up.
Okay, all right. And Tomac's going to look for the lead.
Pretty clean through there. Oh, look how deep these ruts are right here. Got two different line choices. Tomac's not going to follow. You need to get out of that roost a little bit. Roczen's so smooth on the throttle. You see, when you go wide there, it's kind of like a bull turn. You go inside, you need to accelerate. You go wide, you're carrying your momentum. Kind of all evens out in the end.
Oh, Tomac right there. We got a battle on our hands at Unadilla. They pulled well clear already of Ferrandis. Tomac looking on the inside. Nothing there. Send it down to JT.
Pretty interesting battle here, guys. On one hand, you have Ken Roczen, who's won the last 4 motos and, of course, both overalls on the way to that. And then Eli Tomac, as we see him make a pass, he's never won here on a 450. So two similar guys, but contrasting results here at Unadilla.
Yeah, JT, and that pass by Tomac means something because, yes, this has probably been his worst track, at least statistically, and it's Roczen's best, and it's early in the race where Roczen is usually riding well. You don't often see the charge of Tomac early, but the intensity in this championship is picking up, and Tomac is right there with it.
And that corner coming out of that rut, it comes out with this big hook. Then you got to get lined up, and there's just a little groove and a kicker on the top of that to clear that little, I'd kind of call it a double right there. It is so technical right now. The throttle control is so important, and Tomac just seems to have everything working perfectly.
Anderson has made the move on Ferrandis, so the Monster Energy Kawasaki rider, who has generally been the number 3 guy with that Tomac-Sexton battle up front most of the year, is into 3rd again. But the difference is this time it's Roczen in 2nd. Sexton we see now in 5th. The Thor battle box is going to show you Tomac and Roczen on the lower right while we watch this battle for 3rd. Ferrandis, well, I'm sure that was the goal. Get back and be in the thick of it, and that's exactly what Ferrandis is. But Sexton needs to go. It's around the outside, Jeff. So he used to call this the elevator shaft. Uphill. And
wow,
Sexton makes the pass.
Yeah, just gets the drive right there. Sexton, another rider that just has really just fantastic throttle control. He's good on the hard-packed surfaces like one race ago at Washougal up in Washington. And right now he found himself pretty far back there in the top 10 off the start. And he's going to have to dig deep in this moto and just try to get through as many riders as he can. I mean, he's 5 seconds off?
Yeah, and several riders he's got to get through. He'd have to get through Anderson and Roczen, which will not be easy to even have a shot at tracking down Tomac. So, big moment early today at Unadilla for Sexton, who has been matching Tomac stride for stride over the last couple of weeks. There's Ferrandis back in the mix in 5th. Then Plessinger, Dungey, Savacci, Marchbanks, Barsha top 10.
Oh! The berm broke away right there as he tried to really just hammer the throttle and off of that jump, and some of that loose dirt and the rock, it just kind of gave away. He got pretty sideways, and that's going to be the story all day long. Is you're going to have to try to find a way to be comfortable in a very uncomfortable situation, right?
Oh,
Mind over matter right now.
Yeah, bikes bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
Anderson is staying aggressive in 3rd, so Sexton's going to dig deep to go after him for this position. And the crowd loving this brewing battle. And you can see Roczen not too far ahead.
Keep an eye on Sexton's time right here. See our leaderboard on the left side right here. Sexton's 5.3 seconds behind the leader. Now, you would expect with the start that he had, Tomac, Roczen have been up front. Sexton is right there. He's working his way through the pack. and actually gaining time on the lead.
The last time around, Tomac, when he had clear racetrack, ran a 2:17.9. He also ran a 2:17.0 earlier in it, where Sexton ran a 2:17.2 is his best lap.
Yeah. That's not going to be it.
Yep.
That's going to put you up into the 2:18 right there. That little mistake cost him in that lap time. Ferrandis.
Another mistake by Sexton at the top.
Well, and then see the berm just gave out right there. At the bottom of the wall, Anderson goes through, and the berm collapses. So then Sexton goes in there, wanting to lean the Honda over and just bury it and get on the throttle. But he got in there and realized that he had to stand the bike up a little bit and be cautious to get through, because all that dirt from the berm and the rut had collapsed right in the line.
So Sexton looking to regroup and go back after Anderson, who's got him held to a little over a second of a gap. And the lap time, identical. 2:17.9 for Tomac, 2:17.9 for Anderson. And now we'll get another update as they come across the line here.
Sexton just has such a...
That's such 19 for Sexton, Jeff.
A beautiful, fluid style about him, right? Him and Jet Lawrence actually ride quite a bit alike, right? They're kind of a very similar build. Very easy on the bike. Doesn't look like he uses a lot of energy. He does stand up a lot. And I think on a day like today, if you can stand up, the more that you can be on the pegs, the better, because there seems to be a lot of these square edge bumps that are starting to emerge. And if you're sitting down, those really jar the motorcycle, and that's when you can make some big mistakes. But if you're on the pegs, it lets the suspension work a little more. You've got your legs and your ankles, your knees to absorb some of that abrupt kick that the bike gets.
Plessinger, who had a great race going here last year, was running in second. He was the only rider really to keep Roczen in sight, but then he went flipping, literally flipping, did a backflip, landing off a jump, not on purpose. And that was the end of his race day and really ended his momentum that season. And I talked to Plessinger yesterday. He said, yeah, he's been thinking about that for a year, getting back to a track he really likes. And then here's Savatgy. He's been pretty solid here as a fill-in for Monster Energy Kawasaki. I haven't seen Cirillo out with injury.
Yeah, Savatgy earlier today in qualifying had some great lap times, really agreeing with this motorcycle. Right, things have been going all right for him.
And that is 8th. Dungey is between Savatgy here, watching here, and Plessinger. And hey, as JT mentioned on the podium earlier, they got some new gear there debuting today with Fly Racing. So Savatgy's showing off some new colors.
Yeah, lots of color hits right there.
No doubt.
Glowing.
That's good on the Cowie. So Savatgy, yeah, he was coming back from an ACL injury. Cowie actually held him out of the opening round of the season because they didn't think he was ready yet. So that's how much of a work in progress this has been. He's had a moto where he's on the podium back at Redbud. And then he said that he started setting the standards too high. Once he got that one moto podium, he wanted to be there every week, and he admitted he was riding maybe too hard. And he's just got to take his position and not try to overdo it. We go a little further forward. It's a battle with the Red Bull KTM teammates, which is Plessinger and Dungey. Dungey on the 5. Dungey looking to make the move on the inside. Side by side they go. Plessinger holds him off.
When Dungey switch, whoa, he's in the grass.
Whoa.
He was in the grass at one point. Wow.
Didn't quite make it happen. But Dungey all over this Unadilla track looking for a way around.
Dungey's such a legend of this championship, with pretty much second in most of the stats, or at least all the important ones, right?
Yep. Wins, podiums, and moto wins. That says a lot. And honestly, it's only Ricky Carmichael ahead of him, so he's like first mortal.
But he does have Eli Tomac, as far as some of those stats go, breathing down his neck in a few of the categories.
Hey, we're halfway through this moto, 15 minutes down, 15 minutes before we take the 2 laps to go sign out, and you can save 15% or more on your insurance with a 15-minute phone call to Geico. Keep watching this one, though. Plessinger and Dungey hooking it up for 6th and 7th. Go back to the Thor battle box. That is Anderson and Sexton still duking it out for 3rd. Now, the good news is Sexton is a little bit closer to Tomac than he was earlier, so they're keeping, and he just made the move. I think he just made the move on Anderson right there. Where did Anderson go? Man, so Anderson lost a lot of ground there. It didn't go down. They see Ferrandis is right behind him. So that was big. Sexton made the move.
Yeah, and look at this. This last half a lap, he's made up about a half a second. So now in the fours, 4.6 seconds off of the lead.
Yeah, we saw it.
I mean, we still have half the race to go. I mean, we're just past the halfway point, plus we got 2 laps on top of that. Sexton has shown that he can stay in it, and he's got a lot of determination. I mean, he and Tomac are only separated by 5 points coming into this event for the championship.
Send it back down to JT.
Guys, you mentioned Chase Sexton. He just turned in one of the best laps, the fastest lap on the track on the last lap around. You see him pulling up to the back of Ken Roczen, and he looked like he struggled a few laps ago. He smoothed out a little bit, figured his lines out. He's making a run maybe at Tomac here.
Well, that's what the fans at Unadilla wanted to see. Yet another Sexton-Tomac battle. Roczen stands between them. Maybe not for long. Sexton to the inside. Takes the measure of his Honda teammate. No, Roczen wanting to fight back on it. Sexton's got it.
Wow, he's on rails right now. He is just so, that's that tricky corner right there. He's kind of all over the place, but that's how it goes. Everybody is uncomfortable at this point. Sexton is probably the least uncomfortable, I guess would probably be the best way to put it. But he's moving.
Oh, they continue to close.
He's 3.5 seconds on Tomac. So what's going to happen? Is Tomac going to have to kick it into another gear? Can he? Is Tomac riding at his highest pace? Is the pressure of Sexton being there gonna rattle him at all? Or is he going to okay, time to go here with 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go?
Sexton has taken what was once a 5.7 second deficit and gotten it down to 3.5. And while doing that, he had to get around Ferrandis, Anderson, and Roczen. So he is absolutely on the charge right now.
Yeah, he definitely has his lines figured out. Right here is where he made the move on Anderson last lap around. He's got that turn dialed really well.
And from the top of the hill, we go to the bottom, and you can see glimpses of the blue fenders of Tomac's Yamaha in the distance.
Yeah, and if you're Tomac, you're looking over and you're just shaking your head like, oh boy, here we go. Here we go. Game on.
Anderson and Ferrandis duking it out for 4th. What a return to the series for Ferrandis to get the hole shot.
Yeah, watch what happens here in this motorsport.com hole shot. You got Jason Anderson, Monster Energy Kawasaki way wide right there, just hard on the throttle. You got Ferrandis chasing him down, or they're giving it to Ferrandis. That's right, he crosses the line. This is that long hole shot right there.
Welcome back, Dylan, and these two are still battling about that close right now. Oh no, Ferrandis must have made a mistake because Anderson has a couple bike lengths on him now. Back to the top of Gravity Cavity, one of the most famous jumps in all of motocross. So much history here at Unadilla, the only track on our circuit that has been here since the first year of this championship back in 1972. And Anderson now getting Roczen within his sights. Be a fight for the podium. And Sexton has taken it down from 3.5 to 2.5 seconds. It is far from over at Dilla.
Meet Renee, bank manager and mom of the year. But when she gets on her bike, she becomes Rebel Renee. Rebel Renee is the most outspoken member of her book club. And she didn't even read the book. It's rumored she once used her phone at trivia night.
Cleveland.
And she isn't above greasing some palms to get things done. And Rebel Renee rides with Geico because savings and great service are 2 things she'd never rebel against. Geico, savings and service for both your sides.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motorsport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
We're back. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross from upstate New York. Unadilla, Jason Anderson has made the move on Ken Roczen for third. I'll show you how he did it.
Just down the inside past the first turn area. Just got a good drive over that double and took the line away.
Look at this. Ferrandis now all over Roczen. And we've also heard that Sexton continues to close on Tomac. He's got it down to 1.4 seconds. So lots of action on this racetrack.
Oh, big mistake there by Roczen. Hit a kicker on that double coming out of that turn. That's allowed Ferrandis to close up even more.
Ferrandis digging around the outside. He was good at the beginning of the race, little mid-race lull, but he has come back to life, challenging Roczen.
Yeah, things are starting to unravel for the 94 of Ken Roczen. Meanwhile, Ferrandis, he's happy just to be back. Run that #1 plate.
Oh, another mistake by Roczen. Can Ferrandis take advantage? That is the lead right there in the Thor battle box. Wow.
.3 second lead for Sexton.
Unbelievable. He was almost 6 seconds back, and he has done it.
No, he's done it.
In the lead. He has taken the lead, and man, did he grease that corner at the bottom of the hill. He has just eaten Tomac up here.
I mean, did you hear the crowd in the background of our...
Yep.
We were on that other shot, and you heard the crowd screaming about something. Sexton is just marching through all the way to the lead here.
And I've seen Tomac's body language. That did not look like full aggression from Tomac. I'm not sure what's happened. Is it either Sexton has found another level or Tomac's having a problem? But this race has changed, and quickly. Chase Sexton.
He passed him a quarter of a lap ago, and it's already, it'll be 3 seconds by the time we get around to the finish line here.
Yeah,
coming out of Gravity Cavity.
Again, he had a ton of ground to make up to even get there. Sexton pulling the momentum back in this series right now.
Yeah, 2.8 seconds. I mean, after some of the rides that these guys have put on, stop making the keys to the race, get a good start. Sexton's going up. That's not one of my keys. I don't need that.
No.
Top 10 will be good enough.
Yep.
I mean, we still have 6 minutes plus 2 laps to go. And look how good he looks on the bike. That was close. Close right there with the 84.
Okay, we got a little snip of the pass here. Oh!
Well, that was close. Wow.
Literally wheel to wheel over that jump. I mean, they touched in the air.
Well, and that's that same section where Sexton got by Anderson. He's got that left side going up, what would we call it, the elevator there. He's got that dialed in, but look at the fans just cheering him on. I mean, this is absolute perfection right now. And he doesn't look like, it doesn't look like this is hard for him to do. He's like, it's just out on a Saturday afternoon ride, if you will.
And this is something you do not see happen. He did beat Tomac in the previous moto at Washougal, but he did it by holding him off. But to run Tomac down in the second half of a race, you almost never see happen. Now, one caveat I'll throw in there. Again, this is statistically, at least, Tomac's worst track. For whatever reason, he does not have an answer for the 23 right now.
Yeah, it's crazy that Tomac has won he won 3 straight titles in this class, the 450 class of Pro Motocross, and has never won this event on a 450, which is kind of mind-blowing because he's third all-time on all the important stats, win list, but just not Unadilla.
No, and has not won a moto here, Tomac, since 2018. Although really no one had because Roczen had dominated, but it's not maybe Tomac's best track, whatever the reason. Sexton has come from 5.7 seconds down to 3.7 seconds up. This is a defining ride here. I mean, Tomac had won 8 motos in a row, a couple of overalls, had taken the points lead, and now Sexton is looking at completely turning the tables.
Yeah. One thing I love about watching Chase Sexton ride, like with this technique, is his ability. So his shoulders and his head, like you look at his helmet, it's so still Like it never moves. Everything else moves around him, but it's almost like he's intentionally holding his head or like trying to keep it still. But that's just part of his technique. It's really flawless at this point.
And our ETS Fuels drone showing you strafing the countryside here.
Oh, look at that kicker right there. And because the track is so dry, okay, so different types of a terrain, but when it's dry and that loose dry dirt with the rock starts to break apart, you get these kickers, these square edges, these double lips on the top of these jumps, and that's when you can really cross, the bike gets kicked side to side. Whereas if it was a deep rut, you kind of stay in the rut, and that keeps the bike straight. So here you've got totally different conditions than what we've had at this race the past few times we've been here.
Sexton, a dominant ride. Now, meanwhile, Tomac ran a 2:21 the last time around, and even Anderson from third ran a 2:19. Anderson would still have 5 seconds to make up on him, so it's a long way to go, but it's come unraveled here for the number 3, which you don't see often.
Well, and this may be a situation for Tomac going, okay, he's a veteran. Okay, I got to be smart here. Maybe bike setup isn't what he wanted. Maybe, hey, we need to make a change to the shock or whatever. I mean, he's a multi-time champion because if he needs to make adjustments after this moto, he has the ability to do that and regroup. But certainly right now he's going, okay, I can't match the pace of Sexton, but for sure he can't let Anderson sneak up on him and take any points away, right?
No, he's got it back.
It was a 5-point lead coming into today. If it finishes just like this, his lead is then 2.
Oh, boy. We're watching Dungey closing in on Roczen. This would be for 5th. There's Roczen on the 94. Working his way through lap traffic, yeah.
A few lap riders in there, and probably going to see a couple of blue flags flying by the AMA officials. If you're new to motocross, you see that blue flag. There it is right there. What is that about? Okay, that means the leaders are coming by. You're getting lapped. You're getting put a lap down. So hold your line. Be aware of other riders around you that the lead group is coming by. Right there, the 787 just looked over his shoulder.
All right, so we're going to put you to the test here, Fro. JT, what do you got trackside?
So I just have a question for Fro on the mental side of this. We saw Eli Tomac win 9 motos in a row, and that certainly had an effect on Chase Sexton, but this would be 2 motos in a row going back the other way. Now, Jeff, what does that do? Like, what signals does that send? How much can Chase Sexton gain from that mentally going into Moto 2?
Well, it's going to be frustrating for Tomac for sure. Is that what you're talking about? How's Tomac's demeanor? Yeah, but he's a multi-time champion. He's going, okay, we got to make adjustments. They got to work harder. They know it's not going to be easy. These championships, they don't just give them out. You have to earn them every step of the way, and he's being challenged right now. And so they're going to have to, I think there's probably something with the bike and the settings, chassis settings, that they're going to have to make some adjustments, right, and see if he can't come out and be better in the second moto.
Anderson's charge stalled. He had it down to 10 seconds on Tomac, and now it's 12.9, but only because Anderson went back into the 221s, which is the lap time that Tomac had already been running. At one point, Anderson was making up some ground. So the only rider now under the 220 lap time mark on the track, no surprise, is Sexton. And now he's just got to bring it home. It's going to be 2 to go.
I mean, he's just making it look easy. I mean, they've got the bike set up, and the way he's riding it is like perfect.
Yeah, and maybe the toughest track to make look easy, and that's what Sexton has done right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be more difficult as the day goes on. In motocross, the track just goes away, it gets rougher, more holes, more bumps, more rocks are starting to come up. It's going to get really skatey, but you also have to be smart. And Unadilla is one of those places where if you're not feeling the flow, you hit every bump, every rock, every edge, everything out there. Sexton's like, yeah, I got it. Every line's perfect. He looks great. 2-lap board is out. 10-second lead probably. Here comes Tomac right here.
Wow.
I mean, Tomac can't be happy about it, but he also has to be smart and realize, hey, if I don't have it this moto, I'm going to have to go back to the truck and regroup, make some changes.
JT, anything you've heard or seen from that number 3 camp?
Yeah, I spoke to his team manager, Jeremy Coker, and he basically said that, Tomac This is not his favorite track. As we know, he's never won here, but he kind of felt like he had a limit that he wasn't going to go past. And once he got there, we see how fast Chase Sexton's going. I just don't think he's willing to push the limit past that and risk the championship.
Do you get the feeling that a 2-2 would be fine?
Well, if you'd had asked me that 15 minutes ago, I would say no. But I think with the pace that Sexton is turning in, I think he just has to settle at this point.
Hard to believe you're saying that about Eli Tomac, but
I mean, we're still in the first moto even, you know?
Yep, there's the tail of the tape. He's 10 seconds back. At 2:18, at one point they were exchanging 2:17s, but he's not been quite able to maintain that as the track has gotten rougher. And Sexton.
Yeah, but a wise, mature rider says, okay, if I don't have it that day, then I don't have it that day. I'm going to have to make up some points then next week or next race. One of my tracks, that's one of my better tracks. But it's weird, like, to think that as successful as Tomac has been in all of his professional career, that here at Unadilla, there's just something about this track that he just doesn't or hasn't been able to necessarily figure out and be comfortable here. And think about it, we're also only talking about second.
Like, I know. The standards are very high.
It's a bad day. He's running second. You know, that's not the case. We may look back a month from now and go, oh, it was a really smart ride Tomac
That's
had
right.
there, right? You
Take
never
a
know.
second when it's there.
Yep.
You watch Anderson and then Ferrandis going by. Nice return to the series for Ferrandis in the 4th place spot. Dungey has made the move on Roczen. That'll put him in 5th. I gotta imagine if you're Ferrandis, 4th, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
He would be happy with that.
Yeah, he's feeling it. And the same thing for Ryan Dungey here, the number 5 multi-time champion. Like we mentioned, second basically in all the all-time lists, wins, overalls, all that stuff. I spoke to him when we were driving in today, seen him in the pits, and just asked him how he's doing, and you having a good time with it? He says, yeah, he goes, I just want to finish a little better. I'm just not, Keep in mind, he was out of this championship for 5 years. If you've just watched this, he hasn't ridden this championship in 5 years. He retired from racing and decided to come back, and he's still at this pace after him and his wife Lindsay having children, starting a family, having all these other business projects and all this. And when I was speaking to his mechanic, Carlos Rivera, yesterday, who had worked with Cooper Webb on his championship runs, joins back together with Dungey, right? And I said, how's he different? He goes, he's just more relaxed, it's not so much stress on him. He goes, but man, he wants to win. It's like,
can't get it out of your system.
No, it's going to be tough though. I mean, this man right here, these last couple races are proving that he has done the work, and he's got focused,
We've heard Dungey that, by the way, they're investigating. He may have jumped where there was a wheels on the ground flag. That's a safety measure. So he might be penalized. We'll have to see how that turns out a little later today. But right now, the story's pretty simple. No one had an answer for Chase Sexton, and it honestly looked desperate. He was 8th or 9th early, wasn't moving up in a hurry, thinking, man, can he even get up to second just for the points? And then once he got to second, it was unbelievable. He made mincemeat of that lead that Tomac had built up, and it's just not something, even at Unadilla, that you're used to seeing against Tomac. And this shows the level that Sexton is on this year.
Yeah, I mean, and to ride the motorcycle at this pace and do what he's done, all of the training, the fitness, the practicing, it has been put in. The work is put in during the week, and then it manifests itself on race day. And that's like, sometimes, this looks like one of the easiest races that he's ever ran. It's harder to lose than it is to win,
Maintaining the speed all the way to the end.
Okay. Not all the time.
All right, yeah, exactly. Well, it was fairly easy, or looked that way for him. Chase Sexton, a statement moto win here at Unadilla. Now 2 moto wins in a row, and this one a come-from-behind effort, proving Jeff Emmig's theory that the start is so critical wrong.
Yeah,
a little more exciting.
I've been wrong for 15 years.
Hey, every once in a while, you just have so much speed, it doesn't matter if you start in 8th, and that was the case. Is that Anderson going by? I'm watching that battle. Anderson gets 3rd. Ferrandis, Dungey. It was Marchbanks and Savachi we saw actually going over the top of the tunnel.
Long
That'd be a
ride
battle
back
for 8th
here
and 9th.
to the podium, back behind the starting line. through the AMA officials area, through some fans, and then you finally get to this podium area. And what's great about what they've done here at Unadilla is they put that right here where the fans, once he goes on the other side of his podium area, the fans are right there, and you know, when they do the interviews, and we'll be talking to JT here soon.
Him and
Look at that. He's
Brandon
like,
Zimmerman,
"Yeah,
his mechanic. Yeah, it doesn't even look like he put in a 30+2.
his hair's still dry, you know? Oh, he looked great. I mean, that was a real statement race. Damn. Caught a little bit of roost, though.
Yeah, he was coming through. Just want to hear if he had anything to say. Well, we'll find out more. We send it to JT on the podium after this.
New CRF 250R. Lighter, faster, stronger. Ready to help you find your edge.
Meet Renee, bank manager and mom of the year. But when she gets on her bike, she becomes Rebel Renee. Rebel Renee is the most outspoken member of her book club. And she didn't even read the book. It's rumored she once used her phone at trivia night.
Cleveland.
And she isn't above greasing some palms to get things done. And Rebel Renee rides with Geico because savings and great service are two things she'd never rebel against. Geico, savings and service for both your sides.
I am Monster Me.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal. The sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us, on the roads that unite us. Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to be the fuel that keeps you firing on all cylinders.
Clean up your toughest messes super easy, super fast. Only Super Clean is formulated to do the work for you. Just spray it on and watch the grease and grime wash away. Super Clean is the only cleaner degreaser that is scientifically formulated to kick any mess to the curb, so you can move on to more important things. For all of your greasiest, grimiest, toughest tasks around the house, shop, or garage, Super Clean gets the job done. Super Clean. Super easy, super fast.
Next to your vehicle's engine, your transmission is the most important component of your car. If it's not properly maintained, your car may not shift properly. By adding Lucas Transmission Fix to your transmission, it cleans and lubricates sticking valves for proper shifting, renews worn bands to stop slipping, stops seal leaks, will not void new car warranties, contains no harmful solvents. Lucas Transmission Fix. It works.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. With a nationwide network of parts and care, Napa helps you get up and go. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
And we're back, fans sampling in the fan zone area, and they were treated to a great battle. Eli Tomac got out front pretty early and thought it might be over, but instead Chase Sexton able to chase him down and everyone else and end up with a key moto win. It's now 2 in a row. We'll show you how it all transpired for the Lucas Oil race recap. So Dylan Ferrandis, welcome back to the defending champ. Grabs the early lead. Ken Roczen around him. See Tomac up in third. So Roczen doing his usual at Unadilla, riding really well early, but then Tomac is coming on strong.
Yeah, watch Tomac right here, hard on the throttle. This corner here has been really tricky outside with no berm at all. Just carries a little more momentum around the outside of Roczen, and Tomac looks like, hey, this is going to be his moto.
Yeah, I thought it was over from there, but then Sexton, an unbelievable charge first to get around Roczen.
Yeah, but Sexton was way back before he uses that same move on Roczen. Sexton was probably 8th or 9th, maybe even 10th around the start. Like, he was way back.
Yeah, we were concerned. We didn't even see him early. Now he's into second. Here's Anderson getting Roczen for the number 3 spot. Anderson rode well. And then there's the pass. Sexton catches it, gets around Tomac.
Sexton had that line dialed, and then he just wheelies away from Tomac. Just what a statement.
Final margin of victory, 12.8 seconds. Again, 2 moto wins in a row. That doesn't sound like a lot, but the fact that he's been able to do it straight up against Tomac 2 times speaks volumes. We'll send it down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Chase Sexton, what a ride. Now, the question I have for you is about midway. Made a couple of mistakes, and you seem like you really found a groove and you lowered your lap times and really closed that gap. Was that something that was going on in the mid-race, or just kind of figure it out?
Honestly, I came from pretty far back on the start and was eating so much roost that I kind of had to take a breather. Made a few mistakes, but I really found some really good lines, and I think that's what's key out here, to get out of those deep ruts and find ones that are smooth. And I found some good lines that moto, and I just tried to go as fast as I could for as long as I could, and it worked out. So I'm just stoked on that. We made a few changes to the bike after practice. I wasn't super comfortable, and we felt really good that time. So I'm just stoked on that. Really good moto for me, and just looking forward to the second moto.
Well, whatever he figured out, Weech, was certainly working the second half of that race.
Yeah, it was night and day. Was it just going to be a consistent enough run for points at one point, and then it turned into a dominant race win? Tomac solid in second. Anderson, as mentioned, third. Welcome back, Dylan Ferrandis, 4th place. Dungey, Roczen, Plessinger, Marchbanks wins that battle with Savachi for 8th. Savachi 9th. Barsha 10th. Back to the podium.
Eli Tomac, now I think most people thought you were off to the races when you got out front there. Chase Sexton came up, and seemed like maybe you settled and were saving it for the second moto. Can you walk us through kind of the thought process there?
Yeah, that's how it was going there. Got off to a good attack in the first half, and then obviously got caught by Chase. So got to learn some stuff. Wasn't around him for too long, though, so got to get a little bit better. Coming out of the turns, I felt like he was really strong there, so we'll see what we got in Moto 2.
You think it's more like bike settings or just approach to the racetrack that maybe could get you there?
To be honest, it was probably a little bit of both, but just got to see if we can fix our Moto 2. Keep fighting.
All right, so Tomac, you don't see those types of defeats very often, but again, Unadilla not his best track, so we'll see if they can find some magic.
Yeah, and even his comment there, he goes, I wasn't around him very long. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to follow his lines because he was gone. You don't hear a guy like Tomac say words like that, so he knows he's got some work to do for second moto.
And we'll show you those second motos 2 hours live on MAV TV starting at the next hour, which will be 3 o'clock Eastern. And don't forget our post-race show Tuesdays at 5:30 Eastern. Let's send it back to the podium. Jason Thomas has third.
Jason Anderson got off to a start. Ferrandis snuck around you right there, but I mean, seems like life's a lot easier when you come around that first lap in the top 5.
Yeah, you know, I kind of got pushed wide right here, and Ferrandis snuck on the inside of me, but it worked out in the end, you know, being able to be on the podium. I kind of rode a little notchy, and Sexton got by me, Tomac, but to be honest, it's kind of progress from Washougal. So trying to go out there that second moto and just keep moving forward, making progress, and trying to get closer to those front guys. I think we got a little bit better setup going on, and you know, thanks to the whole Kawasaki team and Monster, Alpine Star, Scott, Aero. Let's go. One more moto.
So one more question. I know you want to get up there and battle with Sexton and Tomac. You made mention of that at Washougal. What do you think the difference is just to close that gap a little bit?
If I'm being honest, I think a lot of it has to do with my comfortability on the bike. And I've lacked 2 years of outdoors. And sometimes you forget how gnarly it is. So I think it's still kind of a little bit of a learning curve to get my outdoors feet going and a new bike. So it's a learning process, but we're enjoying it. We love being out here, and we're just gonna keep trying to make progress, and you know, with the bike, myself, everything like that, and be ready.
Well, think about this, Weech. That's 2 years away from Anderson. Think about 6 years for Dungey and 8 years for Malcolm Stewart. So it just shows you how difficult this series is.
Yeah, everybody's dealing with different issues out there. Malcolm Stewart, by the way, 14th in his first motocross race since 2014. So welcome back to him. Shout out to all the fans of Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Racing. We'll have action from Florence Speedway in Kentucky tonight. That is 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking about Anderson, right?